Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before I get into it with our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Emmi on the podcast coming to us all the way from Finland. I was going to try to pronounce her last name, but I don't want to get it wrong, everyone. So, I just decided to skip it, but she's coming to us, like I said, all the way from Finland to share her health and fitness journey. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Emmi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. This is really exciting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I gotta ask first of all, what is the weather like in Finland today?
Really rainy. We don't have much of a winter anymore. So yeah,
Which is weird because normally when I think of Finland, I think of winter too. Because I have a lot of Norwegian blood in me, so I think that that's kind of like the weather like it is in Norway. But yeah,
yeah. It's really just like rainy and dark, and yeah.
yeah. So how many hours out of the day are dark there? Because we hear of like the midnight sun and stuff like that. Is it just dark predominantly like the whole day there for a long period of time?
Well, in Lapland, which is like northern Finland, the sun doesn't rise at all. But then here we have like from somewhere around maybe 9 to 4 at the moment. Like light or I don't know, at 4 it might be pretty dark,
Wow.
maybe. Yeah. But
Yeah.
now it starts to get like towards the light.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, yeah, that is just insane. Yeah, we have it here. I mean, it's light out here, but that's just because it's 11 o'clock where I am right now. But it's 8 hour time difference. But before we get into that, because I mean, just that amount of light, that just sounds depressing. Why don't you give us your backstory and what really inspired and motivated you to get in shape and how that led to where you're at right now? I mean, I know you've competed in some powerlifting events, and you're just really seem to be really getting into the thick of things.
Yeah. Well, it actually started when I lived in San Diego, California, when I was 10 years old. So I got into horseback riding, but I wasn't strong enough to lift the saddle. So my mom told me to do some push-ups, and then I did that in my room every day, like the real like men's push-up, nothing like knees on the ground. And then yeah, I got pretty good at it. And then fast forward, I was 16 when I met my current boyfriend. He took me to the gym, and the first exercise we did was the bench, and I fell in love with it, and then it's my best lift still today. And then uh, yeah, so I just started working out with him, and he watched my every set, every rep, and told me what to do. And then I didn't really like stumble on the things most beginners maybe do. He's always played like sports growing up, so I think he had really like the athlete mentality. And then it got to me, even though I hadn't really done any like serious sports. I had done some stuff, but it was nothing serious. Uh, and then yeah, then I just started from there.
How did working out help you with your horseback riding now that you're able to lift the saddle and stuff?
Well, yeah, at first it really helps the horseback riding, but nowadays it doesn't really help it because, like, I noticed that when my legs started growing, it's really hard to, be like around the horse because my legs are kind of too big for it. And then because for the riding you should be kind of like tall and skinny, and yeah, so I'm not like that anymore. But then last spring, I was dieting for my first show, which was cancelled. So, but then I experienced like having smaller legs again, so it was easier then. But yeah, I always have to like take it into account, like when I have my training with my horse, and then when I do my own training, because if I do the show jumping, so if I have the jumping training, I can't do like a heavy leg workout before that, so I have to time it and really think
And
about.
so you were living in San Diego. What's the story behind that?
Oh yeah, it was because of my dad's work. So we just like moved there, I was really pissed sometimes because like kids get to go around pretty freely in Finland, but then there we just kind of had to stay home and then do play dates, and then I was really like,
You must have liked the weather though.
well, yeah, the weather was really nice. Like doing homework at the pool, it was like the best thing ever. And then it was really a nice year. And then I really enjoyed the mentality, because in school they already like thought as the entrepreneur, like how do you call it, like the mentality. And then yeah, it was really because I'm also a personal trainer and entrepreneur. So for that, so I think I would have never probably um, got into it if we hadn't lived there, and because of the school. And
Yeah, that's amazing too. And when you were getting started, I mean, everyone always has that one body part that really, really takes off that they don't have to train as much, and then everyone always has that one body part that just lags behind if they have to train to oblivion. What were those body parts for you when you were really starting to take things seriously in the gym?
uh, I was trying to pick a body part always, but then there was this one bodybuilder who I talked to at the gym, and then he said that you have really everything like even. And still now I've done like a practice show. We have those in Finland, like you don't have to diet for it, you just go there and practice the stage presentation thing. So yeah, the judges said also that I have everything pretty balanced. I think everything then kind of easy almost. When I started lifting, I was like not about gaining muscle. I was more about like getting strong, and then I just like to bench, and then because I had to bench, I wanted to bench. I also had to squat and deadlift. So so yeah, I think I built pretty balanced with physique. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and when we just saw that you had done a powerlifting meet, a while back, how did that go?
Yeah, it went pretty well actually. I made a few Finnish records in the FPO organization. Here we have two. The other one is Voimanostoliitto, the other one is Finland Powerlifting Organization. So I did the FPO junior 60 kg weight class, and I was super nervous because obviously it was my first powerlifting competition, and uh, I went there just with my boyfriend, but he hasn't competed in anything, so he was just kind of my mental support. But then, yeah, I was super nervous before the squat. I squatted 115. I took it pretty easy, and then after that, the bench was like the thing. The previous record for powerlifting bench was 72 and a half, and then single bench was 80. And then I did the powerlifting bench. I benched 90 there, and then I got, and then the deadlift was also a record in the juniors. It was 147.5 kg, and then I tried 150 because that was light, but then I didn't get the 150. So
Well, and for the Americans listening here, she's talking in kilograms. She's not talking in pounds. So when
yeah,
everyone's like, "Oh, benching 80 pounds," I was like, "No, it's not. It's a lot more than that. It's not like 80 pounds. Yeah, no, but
yeah.
that's
How
amazing.
how much is 90 kg in pounds?
I think it's like 150, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, probably around that.
Yeah, I think it's like 1.5 times or something. It's some. I mean, I've always
Yeah,
wanted to do KG because then I'd be a lot skinnier than I am. I just say that I'm. It just makes you feel better. I'd say so. I don't. But yeah, that's awesome that you were able to do that. But you mentioned that you were getting ready for a bodybuilding show, and then obviously with coronavirus, everything got delayed. How have you been dealing with all this coronavirus? Because I know it's been different in other countries, but how have you been dealing with this whole pandemic?
yeah. Well, in Finland, I think it doesn't affect much like my life because I don't go. partying or something, so that doesn't really affect my life. And then, of course, like you have to wear a mask and stuff, but like the gyms, they have always been open here, are still now. They of course recommend that they would close them, but the government doesn't have the money to provide the whatever like the entrepreneurs lose in it. So that's why they are still open. They can't close them. And then um, yeah, it's really not affected much. You just have to wear a mask.
Yeah, where I am, the gyms are closed now until like mid-January. Again,
Really?
yeah. Well, I'm like right in the center of the. I'm in Minnesota, which is like right in the center of it. I'm close to the Canadian border, like right in the middle of it. So yeah. So yep. So that's where I am. But yeah, it's completely. It's just funny how that's so different there. But yeah, it's just how everything's really been. But since you are Finnish and you are my second Finnish guest that I've had on, I do have to ask you about, because one thing that I did not know about Finnish people before I had my first Finnish guest on was their obsession with saunas. I had never understood
Oh,
it. All of a sudden, and then I looked it up, and I was like,
me
wait,
either. Me either.
yeah. I was like
Like
that. Well, I didn't.
I
First of all, I didn't know that they were invented in basically Finland. But then I was like, what is it? But is it true that like everyone has their own sauna really? And how many saunas do you have? Because the last guest I had on had like 3 of them. So I was like, okay, this is ridiculous.
okay. Well, we live in like a student apartment because my
Oh
boyfriend
yeah.
studies, so we don't have our own sauna. But at my parents' house, we had it, and then everyone has their own sauna, at least one usually. But then if it's like uh, this student thing, then of course it's pretty minimalistic. But what you have, but uh, yeah, I'm not really a big sauna fan. I have just like so much to do all the time that I don't even have like the time to sit in a hot room and chill. I just chill while I eat or something.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're trying to lose weight, that's like one of the things to do. Then I guess just spend your whole time in the sauna. Then basically, then and then eventually it's gonna, yeah. But
Well,
that,
yeah.
yeah, I have never been a sauna guy myself. I mean, they'd have them at like hotels that we stayed at, or like, but like they were just for me. Yeah, it's just sitting there. It's like, yeah, what am I? I'm like you, where I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm just sitting there. It's like let me do something. But yeah, I just found that so fascinating when I looked up Finland, and I didn't realize that it was the whole Finnish thing. But yeah, and now that we are getting close to the holiday, and another thing I didn't know too is that Santa Claus was actually a Finnish invention. It actually
Yeah,
came
that
from Finland.
everyone was really surprised
I was
about
really
it.
surprised
Like
by
when
that
I
too,
was
because I
in
was like,
school in
oh
California.
yeah, because I was like Santa Claus. That doesn't really sound like a Finnish. That doesn't sound like a Finnish really thing. But I was shocked by it. So what is since now we are getting close to Christmas. I mean, we are less than a week away from it now. What is Christmas like in Finland, and how do you celebrate personally?
um, well, usually when I'm not dieting, I'm yeah. No, last Christmas I was dieting. Now I'm dieting. So yeah, I'm just like with my family, and we eat, and then usually and then I've been with my boyfriend for a little over 4 years, almost 5. I'm not sure, but like we spend Christmas like at our own parents' places. So uh, at least so far, and then and yeah, just like do some Christmas baking stuff, and yeah, nothing special. Yeah, give the present and spend time together. And also, like we have always had this at the stables, we have this kind of Christmas thing that we dress up and decorate the horses and then go riding. This I'm not sure what you call it, but you like ride in pairs and then do some choreography. And yeah, we have had that.
So being that I do have a lot of Norwegian blood meat, do you have any fjord horses?
One there is
Oh
actually
my god, those are my
25.
favorite.
Yeah, yeah, 25-year-old one.
Oh, those are my favorite.
Really old. Yeah,
Oh god, they're just
they're really cute.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're just for anyone out there who doesn't know what I'm talking about, they're smaller than the average horse, but they just have that they have that little mane too, I mean they're yeah, they're
yeah,
cute. Yeah, so I yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. But Yeah, that's great that you guys are able to do something like that, because I don't know what my family's gonna really be doing for Christmas with all these lockdowns and stuff. But yeah, it's just the time that we are living in. But when you are going to the gym, I mean, obviously it's in Finland and the US, the gyms are gonna be different, but do they have like mask requirements in the gyms in Finland, or they just let you do whatever you want?
They have mask recommendation, but nobody wears it. And then I think also the virus hasn't really spread in gyms as far as I know. So yeah, not really. We just like wiped down the equipment and
That's what one thing that they don't really get so much in the States here is that they don't understand that, but then they're just like, oh, we're just gonna close everything regardless, because then yeah, but it's just that's just a whole different topic where I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know what they are thinking. But when it comes to this whole entire lifestyle too, I mean, one thing that people do not understand is the nutrition is the biggest thing. I mean, it's bigger than your workouts, it's bigger than everything else. What are some of the nutritional changes that you've made since you really started to take things seriously?
well, I started eating a lot more. I ran half marathons before I started the gym. Like along the horseback riding, I was doing home workouts and running half marathons. And then, but yeah, then my boyfriend said I need to eat if I want to gain muscle. So I started eating. Actually, we started dating. Basically, just like we went to the gym and went to Burger King to eat some burgers and fries, and that was my first nutritional change. Then I started really researching about the nutrition stuff myself a lot more, and then I experimented with my first mini cuts and stuff like that. They were really good experience for the competition thing because I don't have a coach, so I do everything myself. And then I was also started. I started shifting like more focusing that I get enough carbs and of course like enough fat, but then I just want to really prioritize the carbs because of the glycogen storages and stuff. I think I had enough protein in my diet, like always, because yeah, and then my diet has always been pretty healthy. Like my parents cooked food, and then I also started making my own food when I'm 21. So when I lived in my parents' house, I was cooking. Like at the end, I was 19 when I moved out, and then um, so I've always eaten healthy, but
Well, she's younger than me, so she's making me feel jealous right now. I was like, anytime we have guests on here that are younger than me, I was like, oh well, whatever.
yeah,
But no, yeah, that's great. But one thing that also goes somewhat along with the nutrition though too is it's the number one thing when it comes to recovery, and it's never talked
yeah,
about as
it is.
much as it should be. And when it comes to this lifestyle, is sleep. I mean, no one talks about sleep,
Yeah,
especially on Instagram or any of these, health sites. I mean, no one ever mentions it, but how do you try to get that proper amount of sleep, especially now that you're living in,
yeah,
Finland in the middle of the winter when, you're not going to get that much sunlight. So it's hard to
yeah,
probably stay awake once it gets to be super, super dark, because it gets dark here too around like
yeah,
4 or 5 o'clock. But, I'm just naturally a
yeah.
night owl, so it doesn't affect me as much. But how have you been dealing with all
Okay.
this?
Well, for me, always like the November, December is kind of hard because it's so dark and depressing. But then now the last year and now I'm dieting, so it's kind of exciting. So I haven't really felt the effect. But then yeah, for sleep, I have really early mornings. Well, I wake up at like between 5 and 6 always, and then I don't usually need an alarm for that. So because I have to go to the stables, it's always been like that. Like since I was 12, I was going to the stables every Saturday morning, like a little past 7. I was there, and then like my sleep schedule has never changed like from that age till now. So I guess I've always had the like really good sleep schedule, so then I get enough sleep. I could get more. I always I get 7 hours. So, but then I immediately like realize it, like feel the effects if I get like 6 hours or 6.5 or something. I need the 7, not like any less.
No, yeah. I mean, it's so important. I always say to people who say that, like, "Oh, yeah, sleep is all right, but it's not the end all." I say, "Well, spend
Yeah,
an all nighter and then go and try to work out, and then tell me what happens." I mean, because
yeah.
it really makes it almost impossible. But you mentioned that you used to run half marathons, and I
Yeah.
had an ex girlfriend that also ran half marathons and
Oh.
marathons, and every time she would tell me, "Hey, Ryan, you want to go out for a run?" No. I mean, that's the simplest answer of all time. No, I hate cardio. I hate it more than life itself. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's like, why? But what is your relationship with cardio like now that you're trying to put on weight and put on muscle?
Um. Well, I don't do it, but I move a lot like during the day, like uh in my job. If there is 8 hour day, there is like 16 kilometers of walking could be easily. And then I also do the stable work stuff and everything like that. So I move a lot, but then not I don't do any cardio even now. Like I'm dieting. I'm 16 weeks out, and my diet in whole is like 22 weeks, I think. And then, but yeah, I'm not planning on doing any cardio yet, even though I like it. But then, and then if I want to go for a run, I can do it. Like, of course, not like half marathon, like straight up. But yeah, I like it. Yeah,
No,
it's
yeah,
fun.
I mean, hey, to each their own. I mean, I personally, you'd never catch me. I even told people, I was like, if you want to see me run, you're gonna have to chase me with a knife. Basically, That's the only time you're ever gonna see me run. But hey, it's a great way to get started losing weight and stuff, and it's a great way to help maintain a healthy shape. I mean, it's one of the best things you can do, and it's the most importantly, it's good for your heart, which is the best thing overall. So hey, but I mean, just on
And for
top of
my clients, I usually tell them to do something like if there is just a lifestyle client, you have to do some cardio. Like even though you want to build muscle, but usually, like um, for if you want to do a heavy leg day, you need to have some kind of conditioning, like because you won't get through it without it.
especially with leg days. I mean, good God. I mean, I've done, so many leg days where I wake up the next morning and I take about 3 steps from my bed and then I just fall down. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm not getting up for the rest of the day. But I mean, there's so many ways that happen with or there's so many techniques that happen with training when it comes to, body parts. And is there any specific training technique that you like to follow, or do you like to mix things up, or?
Now I really mix things up, but then because of the powerlifting, competing, and bodybuilding, uh, figure or body fitness is like my division. So uh, now when I do bodybuilding, I use a lot of special techniques. Uh, I've done that for the past year. Before that, I didn't do any special techniques. Um, but now there is always like a big some kind of bigger compound movement and then the smaller movements, and then I always like keep the powerlifting movements in my program, but then how much of them I do, then it depends on if I'm preparing for bodybuilding or powerlifting.
Well, and also when it comes to, bodybuilding, I mean, posing is one
Yeah,
of the hardest things that we've heard for what it takes for these competitors.
yeah.
What has your experience with posing been like?
I started practicing in 2018, so quite a while ago. And then I think it's really good to practice like in the gym, in the middle of everyone, like even though like people won't understand it, like
They're like,
you are just
what is that girl
general
doing? Yeah.
going like in her
Yeah.
super heels and
Yeah.
so yeah, so but then there is people in the competition, so yeah, you should do it there. You should start it early, because for me the walking in the 12 centimeter heels was like horrible, and I didn't know what to do. So yeah, I'm glad I started posing uh like 2 or 3 years before my competition should have been last spring, but it's now next spring.
What is your favorite pose to do, and what's your least favorite pose to do?
Well, probably like how you stand in the lineup. You could just like have like the basic like the front pose, but then you could do something different. So I don't know. I don't really like that, but maybe the back pose is really hard because sometimes I feel like my back is somehow like stiff or the scapula. So that's hard. But all the other poses are nice.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's overall. And I mean, what would you say has your friends and family's reaction been like since you really started to take things seriously in bodybuilding and powerlifting? How have they reacted?
Well, it's been more like bodybuilding that's been, I guess, apparent to my friends and family because it affects my eating a little bit more and everything. So my family, well, they were a little like confused, like because you have to like watch what you eat, even though like I'm pretty like I have a pretty relaxed. Uh, I do it pretty relaxed, so yeah, they didn't really get it when, but then I moved out, and then my boyfriend and I we eat different foods, so it's really easy. Like even though I'm dieting or not, it doesn't really affect anything because we always eat different food. And then my friends, they have always been like really supportive. So of course, like everyone won't understand because this is kind of a weird sport, but yeah. But then powerlifting actually, like when I started prepping for the competition, my friend said that I had gained some kind of confidence, something, or at work or something. So I think they noticed some kind of positive effect from powerlifting.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing that I like to talk about too is that, and well, on top of the one myth that I love to bust, where I mean it's gotten better the last 5 years due to Instagram, but there's still so many women that have that fear that if they walk into the gym and they do one bicep curl, they're gonna put on 50 kilograms of
Uh,
muscle overnight. And it's like, first of all, that's not gonna happen. Did you ever have that fear when you were getting started? And even if you didn't, I mean, I bet being a personal trainer, you probably hear that all the time.
uh, well, yeah, yeah. Usually people tell that they know that it requires hard work to build muscle and something like that. But then in the personal training thing, a lot of times people don't really realize how long you have to do the hard work that you start to see any results. Like, but yeah, I lost the. What was the question?
Oh, so what do you like to tell people who have that to you? Just because so many people are still have that
Yeah.
misconception.
Yeah, for that, yeah. Well, I would say pretty much that you have to like almost dedicate your life to it if you want to look apart, kind of, not just like the general gym bispo person. Like, if you really want to look like you have muscle, then yeah, then it's like a lot of work. Like I don't, it doesn't for me. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but then for someone who doesn't have like the athlete lifestyle already, it would feel like a sacrifice maybe. So yeah, it won't happen. I just tell them that you just get to your result faster if you lift heavy, and then if you realize that you have gained too much muscle or you are gaining too much, then you can just like taper it down, and then you are just like in the zoned body faster.
Which needs to be erased from the English dictionary because that is just, yeah, that is just absolutely ridiculous because, it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is, yeah.
But what is one body part that you think you get recognized for the most? What is one body part that people compliment you on the most?
Well, on the social media, it's like my chest, traps, shoulders, but it's the only thing pretty much that I show because I
Yeah.
realized I don't really have much pictures of my legs because then people who see me in person compliment my quads or yeah, because yeah, I don't really post them, so it depends on like if it's in social media or
Yeah, that's I have never posted. Ooh, excuse me. I have never posted anything about my lower body either because first of all, that's nothing to brag about for me because I'm 6'3", so I'm really tall. So that's I'm not just I'm not built to be like that. But yeah, and if there was one thing, if someone were to come up to you and say, Emmy, we made the decision, you can change one thing about the health and fitness lifestyle, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed about this lifestyle?
sorry, so what was it? I don't really get the question.
Oh. So like if you could change one thing about this lifestyle that would like suit you the best and everyone would have to go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Uh, so that people get like reasonable with their nutrition because there is way too much any kind of weird beliefs and diets and everything. You should just like focus on the basics. If you get everyone, if everyone would get enough protein and fiber, healthy fats, and the rest from carbs, it's like everyone's life would be a lot better and easier. And of course, there's like people with some like gut disease or anything. I'm not talking about that, but like usually people like if they just like stop focusing on like the uh, details that don't really matter before you have everything in check. So yeah, just focus on the big picture and be relaxed. Like
Yeah, that's
don't
one thing that I'd like to
seriously.
no, yeah. That's one thing that I'd like to see as well cuz like so many people, yeah, especially in this day and age, yeah, they just focus too much on other people's results and other people's work and then they don't focus too much on their own effort. So yeah, totally. And if we were to talk to you a year from today, where'd you like to be at in your bodybuilding journey? Where'd you like to be at just in your overall health and fitness journey? What are some goals that you would like to have achieved if we were to talk to you a year from today?
um, well, I hope that I'd have grown my personal training business and then a little bit, and then also like the competition wise, I would have the first body fitness competition under my belt. So I hope I would place there, but I don't know. It's my first show, so I just want to have a good experience and yeah. And then the powerlifting thing, I want to break my own records. I want to bench 100 kg next year. It's pretty close. It's still 5 kilos away, and every kilo is like harder from now. But I will do it next year. That's
What is one food that you're looking forward to having the most after your diet's done?
I don't really have any because I get to have everything during my diet. There is like if I have as I said, I'm coaching myself, so like I do macros. I have the rules that I need to get enough protein and fiber and healthy fats, and then I can fit in some kind of small treat if I want, and then if I have like the frequency depends on how the progress is going and everything. But if I have kind of a refeed day or cheat meal or something, then that's like I eat whatever I want for one meal or one day. It depends on what I need, and then I just get to have everything during my diet. I think I stayed like even though there was I think 4 or 5 weeks left of dieting from the spring, like when it got cancelled. I stayed in pretty good shape like for 4 months post show, so it worked really well. Like this is what I'm thinking about during the prep is like not just the prep but the time after it, because if I get in great shape and don't eat anything during the diet and then I just like uh have like a huge rebound after the show because I want to eat everything, then I think that prevents me from it, and I think it worked last time. So yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we wish you nothing but the best. Well, we wish you nothing but the best in your show, and I think you're gonna do great, obviously. And is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
Uh, well, no, I'm just always thankful for my training partner, Petri, and also my business partner. We do the personal training business together, and for the last year, we have trained together. So it's really, I really made some good progress during that time, uh, and yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and again, everyone, go and give her a follow on her Instagram page. I'll leave a link down below. And Emmi, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap things up?
Well, if people wanna follow my journey, and
Oh yeah, she has a YouTube channel as well. Yep, yep.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's in Finnish. So if people wanna see me doing videos in English, I could totally do that. So just let me know in Instagram or YouTube or somewhere, and then I'll make content in.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and I think that would be great as well. And again, everyone, we cannot thank her enough for coming on. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.